Hi, my name is Heather Farnsworth, and I am living here in Rexburg. I'm a single student here, still a full-time student living near a campus, and I have one semester left after this, so I'm excited to be done pretty soon. I just thought that for this learning teaching interaction, I would just share some of the things that most stood out to me from the chapters that we read. About family life education. And as far as the history and philosophical perspectives, I think some of the things that stood out to me a lot were that family life education, as you know, by that name, is a relatively new thing, even though the theories and the idea of family intervention education has been around for centuries. And so it's interesting to study about the history and to see how many years have gone into the theories that go into family life education. Something else that stood out to me was the different approaches to being a family life educator. I thought it talked about the difference between an expert approach, that's kind of a top-down approach where the teacher comes up with what is to be taught and what needs to be taught because of their learning and experience and knowledge, and they don't really involve any input from the participants in the class. And that's different from a facilitator or a collaborator approaches that allow more input from those who are learning, and I thought that was definitely much better to be able to have people in the class be able to help determine what their needs are and what kind of things they want to get out of participating in the program. We also talked about how family life education should be preventative rather than therapeutic in nature. And so we're not going in and fixing serious problems. Instead, we're trying to focus on preventing the problems that do commonly arise and are starting to arise in certain situations. And it's more effective that way and helps people to take more control over their situation and be prepared for things to come. And so, as far as Chapter 2, was designing comprehensive family life education programs. And a quote that I liked as far as identifying the problem, actually I think I took this quote from a different chapter, but I thought it applied, was by Weinrich, and it says, "To have a viable product, people must first feel that they have a genuine problem and that the product offered is a good solution to that problem." So when we are preparing these programs, we have to recognize what problems are important to the target audience that we are teaching. What do they care about? What do they feel a need for change in their lives? And if we don't find a problem that's significant to them, we can't really go anywhere or can't get anyone to attend the program. We talked about program design, that we need to recognize who exactly will be invited to the program, who it's aimed for. And I liked that it was focused on tailoring the program to individual needs. And there was a lot of, if you're doing a huge project that you want to take to the masses, it seems like researchers or family life educators would do a lot of research and testing of their content of their programs to see if it's actually effective, and do it multiple times, test it multiple times before they actually disseminate it. And so I thought that was interesting. Another thing that I thought was helpful was that it's important to make sure it's accessible to everyone, that they, the people that we're trying to draw into these programs have busy lives and concerns and things they're dealing with. And so it's important to make sure that we take it to them, make sure the program's in a location that's convenient for them, and make sure that it's easily understood by the audience. And I also thought that the point they made about having leaders with a vision was interesting, because if we don't have a larger goal for change that we want to see in the community and in society, I think it'd be harder to come up with a high quality program if our vision is narrow, if we're just thinking about accomplishing this certain class or workshop. So I thought that was interesting that it said we need to have a vision. And let's see, so marketing, what I took from that is that it's most helpful to market through personal ways, giving personal invitations, whether by word of mouth or phone or personal letters or emails. And so it definitely would be a lot easier to market it to people that are, in our circle of acquaintances that we've met, whether in our church group or whatever, that we can give a personal invitation to. And it also stuck out to me that in marketing it, we need to make sure we help the audience see what's in it for them, that is something that will help them with something that they want, and to improve in their lives. And as far as improving the practice of family life education, I thought it said that there's not a lot known about family life educators. I thought it was interesting that they said that in their research about employers, not very many of the employers said that they took being certified as family life educator as something they looked for in hiring people, that it didn't really mean anything to them. So we have a role in educating employers and the public about what family life education is and what we do and why it's important, because it really is important. And I really liked the principles at the end, especially. I thought that there was a lot of things in there that I wished I could just take and put in a workshop, although they're examples. I like that it talked about empowering people instead of empowering people and helping them feel that they're an agent for change. And I think that's really important. And the principles of sacrifice and empathy, I think that those are principles that will bless families and bless lives. And as we try to embody them in the way we handle the workshops and family life education programs, it will really help people create a positive change in their lives. So I think I'm running out of time, but those are just some things that stood out to me from the chapters.